What is going on, YouTube? Bing, bang, bong. We are back. Chase, the lawyer, the genius, the everything, is back to join us. I don't know if that's true, but he is here to answer some questions and just to go over some overall, ideas and what's happening with Voyager. We have some things that we think are important that you guys should at least know. We think it's probably going to be a little bit shorter video than we've had in the past, but some important things have happened with money, where a lot of the money's going, and what else is going on. Chase, do you have anything to start the video with that you've seen that they should know, just in the beginning, this trend we're going to go into?
Well, I guess first thing I would say is I guess filing the claim was probably the biggest thing people were asking about, and looks like Voyager did that for you, and you only need to file if you dispute what they filed on your behalf. I still think it was solid advice to file a claim if Voyager wasn't going to do it for you, but this is a kind of a different bankruptcy. But it looks like if you had, it looks like Colin showed me, you guys have got emails saying what they think you had on the platform. So if you agree with that, I think you're already filed, so there's no need to double file, if you will. But if you disagree with them, I would encourage you to file a claim, and I think they even say that in their little email they sent out.
So you are correct, and that was one thing that was obviously our biggest question. Here's my email right here. Yes, I am showing you all the assets I have on Voyager. You can see it all right there. If you want to screenshot it, you can do whatever. I can't scroll up because a lot of my important information's there, but here's the claim that they filed for me. It is all correct. It is all right on this account. So what I wanted to go over, though, Chase, with you is that you were dead on about filing a claim, because everybody's like, oh, you don't have to file a claim. It doesn't matter. Technically, yes, you did file a claim. Voyager just filed it for you.
Yes.
Is that pretty rare, or because you don't do big time bankruptcies like this, but in your research for bigger time bankruptcies with this many people who need to file a claim, I would assume that this happens more often than not.
In the larger bankruptcies like this, now this is also a one of a kind bankruptcy because you don't get a bunch of numbers with decimals behind them in bankruptcies.
Yes.
Generally it's you owe me $25,000. Okay, here's my claim for $25,000. But yeah, in larger bankruptcies, sometimes they will just file the customer list for you. But in generally, like in the bankruptcies I see, which are generally personal bankruptcies or even like estates, if someone passes away and they're owed money, you file a claim on your own. They're not going to file it for you.
So now that you can see that, obviously another big question was answered, that we obviously got our claim filed in our crypto. Okay, so that I guess is good. We don't know what exactly is going to happen, but I'm glad to see this instead of some made up dollar number. What does this mean now? Does that mean they're probably dealing with someone how we're going to get repaid in some type of crypto? It doesn't seem like that's going to be translated to cash, right?
As of right now, they're not going to translate it to cash, but I think it's very interesting that they went and valued it in crypto. I don't want to make any assumptions about what that means because this is the first time anybody's had to deal with this.
Yes.
As far as
fair enough.
And I don't want to say any assumptions like, oh, that means everybody's getting their crypto back. Oh, that means we're going to get cash back, because it's still a question of how do we value these crypto assets, and that's going to be a question for probably someone a lot smarter than me to figure out how they're going to do that. It's interesting they came out with crypto, but really, if you think about Voyager, how else would they do it? I mean, yeah,
it's true.
I mean, where do you draw? I mean, I don't even know where they got these numbers for what you had on where'd they come from? Was it July 5th or was it some other time? I don't know.
Well, this is just how much we've bought. So
that's just how much you bought.
Yeah,
okay.
This is how much I've bought, but and obviously the value goes up and down like crazy. So yeah, that'll be another question that we don't know the answer to, is where will they value it from? Is it from July 5th? Is it from something else? Will you only get back however much? Do they have more storage of VeChain than they do of USDC? Do they have more Bitcoin than they have here? Or are they just going to cut it right down the middle, but your percentages are off because someone who has $1,000 on the platform, and I heard of someone who has $300,000 on the platform, should obviously not be getting the same cut.
No, it's not going to be. It's not going to be a same cut. It's going to be a pro rata share on how much you have on there. So it's not going to be, everybody gets 2 Bitcoin and
whatever.
It ain't going to happen.
No.
That way.
So and it's going to be completely dependent. Just correct me if I'm wrong, on what happens with the buyout, right? That's going to be the main thing. With who buys Voyager is going to be the most important thing of what happens there.
Well, I think if someone buys Voyager.
Yes.
If someone buys Voyager, and if there's anything to be gained in the 3 arrows capital, which seems unlikely from what I've read.
Well, now that you just said that, let's just go ahead and jump over to it. Okay, so now we've got a Three Arrows Capital article up. And again, guys, we're going to kind of jump around on this one because Chase did some research on Three Arrows Capital. You can go up and read this article. It's on the New York or the Intelligencer or whatever. You guys should go read it. It's pretty good. It tells you all about the demise. And obviously, Digital Asset News has a really good video on this as well. So you can go watch that video too. It's about 30 minutes. But really, the main thing that we care about, Joe and I are going to make a video on this later. The main thing we care about is, Chase, tell everybody that you read and obviously got at it. Why didn't Steven, the team, and Voyager get collateral from Three Arrows Capital? What was their reasoning for not getting it?
Well, I don't want to jump in their heads, but I sure could tell you that Three Arrows Capital was offering them 10% interest, which,
okay,
I mean, that's a great return on $650 million.
Yeah.
10% interest a month. I mean, what's that, $6 million a month you're going to get from them?
Well, and not only they were throwing us like 7%, so they're netting 3% by doing nothing. And that's probably not even their biggest money maker.
I mean,
at all.
No, and it's but you're going to net, 3%, which is what, 30% of $6 million every month doing nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
But that's why they did it for no collateral.
How big of a downfall was it not getting the collateral? Like obviously we know, but I'm saying how big of a rookie mistake? Like that should never ever have happened, right?
Well, I could tell you this from this is actually from a financial guy. This is not like me saying it, but any time that someone guarantees you over 10% interest, there's something's wrong. That's how Bernie Madoff got so many people, and he was telling people, I can get you 17, 18, 19% interest, and he was paying it out, but he was just taking other money to pay other people and just keep getting more money.
Yeah.
And that's over 10% is too good to be true. And with that amount of money, I'm surprised I got no collateral whatsoever.
Well, and that is exactly what basically Three Arrows Capital was doing. They were borrowing from every Peter in the world, and they were trying to pay Paul, but they weren't even paying Paul fully, and they were keeping some for themselves, like ordering yachts and jets and all this crazy stuff.
I saw somewhere that they had a $150 million like yacht. Or
yeah,
something.
they didn't have money to turn the freaking thing on.
I mean, why didn't you could at least got the yacht as collateral?
I mean,
maybe you could have sold that or something.
I mean, and it's a great point. So Three Arrows Capital, obviously, sketchy situation, sketchy dudes behind it. We get all that running away, whatever. Joe and I are going to do a video on that later, like I said. But how bad does it look on the executive team of Voyager not going through the protocols of really checking this out?
I mean, it seems, I don't know if this is normal in the crypto space, because I mean what's normal in the crypto space we're still kind of figuring out because it's still pretty new.
Yeah, correct.
But there's no way you would do that in any type of business deal with that much money. Now I don't know with the books that Three Arrows Capital showed Voyager to say this is why we can pay 10%, but with all these people saying that they were just getting money from us,
yeah,
I'm sure they could show that they were making a bunch of money. But really, they weren't. And once the investors run out, that's kind of when it all crashes and burns.
Well, and you're exactly right. They could show they were making it because it was at the top of the bull market, and they were valued at billions and billions and billions of dollars because it was at the top of the bull run. Now we're not at the top of the bull run, and we're at the bottom depths-ish of the bear market. And before we even got down that far, things already went crazy.
Kind of seemed like to me that it was one of those that almost. The bull market was never going to end.
Yes.
So we just keep borrowing. It's never going to end. It's very similar to what happened to the real estate market in 2008, where people were just kept getting homes that they couldn't afford. You make $50,000 as a family, and you're getting a loan for a $250,000 house that you can't ever make that payment on, and banks are just giving them out because,
yes.
I mean, and when it came time to everybody can't pay those. That's kind of what happened here. Is we had this big market. Everybody's spending what they can't afford to spend, and then when the bill comes calling, this is kind of what you get.
Absolutely. So there may not be any crazy news about Voyager, but I think it's very important for the people to know because ultimately, guys, this is our money. We should probably jump into what Voyager actually has spent in the month of July.
Yeah,
it's pretty eye-opening, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely it's eye-opening to how much money they're losing, and it's finally some money that I'm used to seeing, not necessarily the numbers per se, but it's dollars that we can actually value instead of, crypto as what it was in November. I'm sure, Voyager was a multi-billion-dollar company, and now in August, maybe not so much.
Yeah, so we're going to go over that right now. I think it's great. Here's the table of contents you guys can go over, but we're going to take you to the most important parts anyways, and Chase is going to take you through it, okay? So you can read all this if you want. Chase and I already went through all that, but we're going to take you straight down to the nitty-gritty of the numbers. Chase, let's have you go ahead and go through that. I'm going to blow this up a little bit so people can see it a little bit better, and you can see it a little bit better, Chase, and go ahead and do your thing.
All right, so what I just basically saw is what they were bringing in, which is the receipts. That's what they're bringing in, and this is just cash. So they're basically, they look like they were bringing about 2.3 million a month this is in July. I don't know if this is every month, but it looks like they're bringing about 2.3 million income, but they're just distributing about a little over 4 million to. The main thing is employees and their benefits. That's the main thing they're spending money on. What's telling in this video here, or this document, is that the bankruptcy, which we'll get to that, because there is no bankruptcy professional fees listed on this. So if you look at this,
so right here is zeros.
Right here,
this line,
all zeros.
Okay.
If you're in the middle of a bankruptcy, I find that hard to believe, but I can tell you from this document, it looks like they're losing a little under $1.7 million a month to keep Voyager running.
In just cash.
Just cash.
Because their cash, obviously, at the beginning of the month here, right here, cumulative, over 100 million. End of the month here, 98 million.
Yes, so it's about 1.7 million a month. But then it is a little confusing when you get to the next one.
Okay. Is this the next one you want to look at? Or which
no.
the next one? Do you want to look at
this is the one.
This one?
Yeah.
All right, Chase. So here's the next one. Now walk us through the big boy here. Walk us through this one.
Well, this one is a little more. This one, if you look at this by the revenues and simply their expenses, if you look at the total over here, which is the current period under the total, it's saying they're losing about 11.3 million in July.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go down to the bottom there where it says other income / lost, it's saying they're losing, 50 million.
Yes. How was that? Let's explain that.
Well, the number you got to pay attention to really is the 38 million they're saying they lost.
Right here.
That is the money that they lost in the market on crypto. So they saying the crypto they have invested lost 38 million, and then you have the 270 down there. That's, I believe it's interest.
Fees,
oh,
yeah.
Fees.
Yeah, fees of the assets borrowed.
So the assets they borrowed also lost money.
Yes.
So the fees lost money. So if you look at the numbers, if you take that 38.8 million and the 270, if you add those two together and you subtract it from the 50, you're going to get the 11 million that they're saying they lost. So yeah, it does say they lost 50 million, but really it's just the crypto going up and down. But it looks to me like they're really losing about 11 million.
So they're losing about 11 million a month on their asset sheet, on their operations.
On their operations, yeah, it looks like that. The big difference from the first one to the second one, there is some other slight differences, but the big one I saw is in the total current period, they have a little over $8 million spent on looks like professional and legal fees for the bankruptcy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so right here, expenses, it says professional and consulting fees, 3.25 million, 800,000, 3.4 million. So over $8 million. You're telling me over $8 million Voyager is paying in the month of July professional and consulting fees.
Yes, that's what that says.
Holy crap. And they only brought in 3 million, which didn't even cover the expenses and the wages of the people above.
They brought in 3.9, looks like, for the month, and they dispersed just above. That's about 4 million. So they're still down. It's maybe 100,000, maybe a little less than 100,000. But then you add in the 8 million that wasn't on the first balance sheet. So it's
and you have the compensation and employee benefits here. That was in the other one. The cost of revenue, all these little things. Yeah. So it looks like they're losing about $11 million a month.
It looks that way. Yeah. But I mean, obviously professional and consulting fees, those can go up and down because there are some months you don't talk to your you don't need them as much. So the lawyer bills are never lawyer and consulting bills and any other professional outside services. I mean, obviously we do this on a much smaller scale. I have process servers I have to pay. You know, your employees are generally about the same every month, but there may be time I have to hire like a forensic accountant, which would make that number go from, you know, maybe it's $1,000 a month. Maybe I got to pay $10,000 to that guy in 1 month. So those fees could go up and down. So the $8 million, I wouldn't like pencil that in as, you know, that's what they're going to spend every month.
No.
On these, but that's if you're like, where's this discrepancy? I think a lot of it comes from the professional and consulting fees.
Absolutely. Well, that's just crazy.
And there's one other thing on here that maybe I just want to touch on. It's the fee from crypto assets loaned. It's at the top of this page. That's currently on Colin's screen. It says it's about 2.9 million for July. That is the fees they're collecting from assets they've loaned out. So that is where, if Three Arrows Capital was making their payments, that is where that money would go. So that would be probably 10 million if they were making their payments.
I see. And so that's a great point. So that'd be, let's just say 10 million. So that would be about 13 million. And they'd have way more money in staking because they'd have a lot more assets on the platform, obviously.
I think it'd probably change it to a positive 4 or 5 million a month.
At least they'd probably be bringing in, and that's after everything's paid for. Everything Voyager is making 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, however many million a month.
And that's just saying that if that is the same, and Three Arrows Capital was just, if that's the only creditor, that's the only person that's not paying Voyager, which I don't know if that's true or not.
Correct.
If you just added their money in and added the staking to it, I bet they're in the black. You know, at least 3 to 6 million a month.
Wow, that's crazy. That is absolutely asinine. Oh my gosh. So, all right, the next thing we want to get to, Chase, is what is up with this pay sheet right here, dude. So scheduled, and a lot of people are like, oh, this is cheap. Oh, this ain't that much. And then a lot of people are like, oh my God, this is crazy. So basically, this is the head honchos of Voyager, and this is what they made on we're thinking just their salary. This is no bonuses put in there.
I'm thinking that is July's salary for all those people listed. I would be surprised if Voyager's CFO was making a little over $300,000 a year.
Yeah,
there's probably a huge bonus pool.
Absolutely,
and really the bonus pool, you can keep your monthly expenses lower if you take a lower salary. But if you know you're going to get a $1.7 million bonus, I'll take $300,000.
Exactly right. Because a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, one person online told me they're like, well, $300,000 is basically nothing for a CEO. I'm like, yeah, he just cashed out options at 30+ million in January, dude.
Yeah, I mean their CEO, 27.8. Yeah, that would be super cheap for the CEO if they didn't have options, if they didn't have bonuses. Because if you look at the CEO, you don't want to look at their salary. You want to look at their total compensation package, and that's for any company. I guarantee a company this size, their CEO's not making $300,000.
No, and I can tell you this too: all these people, they ain't gonna have a job, right? When this is all over, there's no way they're keeping them around because they're still getting. I don't know if it sits bad with me, and I kind of want your opinion on it. That's why I brought this up. Is I feel like they shouldn't be getting paid. They have our money. These people are almost making more a month than I do in an entire freaking year, and they're all still getting paid.
Yeah, I can see why you'd feel that way, especially when it's, the assets.
I don't know.
Is your guys' money. I mean, the bulk of Voyager's assets at this point are your guys' money.
Yes.
But
because technically they're getting paid with our money.
But yeah, they're getting paid. I mean, with the cash on hand. Now, how that cash came about, probably is when a lot of it's probably when you guys bought into the platform, unless they had cash some other way.
Yeah.
I don't know if they sold off crypto to get cash or what, but they have
They sold off a little bit, but they sold off that CoinFi, I think, for a couple million, but nothing crazy. And I don't even know if that money's even hit the balance sheet yet. I highly doubt it.
But so, I mean, really, if you're talking, if their monthly expense for all those people, which are probably those are the top executives in the company.
Yes.
$260,000. That's not bad for a month, but they're still getting paid while everybody else is, maybe 90% of your portfolio is totally screwed.
On top of this, who knows? Maybe they even took a big cut just to keep getting this paid so it doesn't look as bad, right? That's possible.
They could have taken pay cuts. They could have been mandatory pay cuts.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw it during COVID, but I follow a lot of sports, especially college sports, and a lot of athletic departments across the country in college were forcing people to take a pay cut to continue to get paid instead of layoffs.
Even hospitals were. Hospitals, well, we have a couple people here that were making people take pay cuts because you obviously weren't working. There weren't people here and whatever.
I mean, it was
crazy.
It was either take a pay cut or get laid off or fired.
Yes.
And people took pay cuts. Now, they could be doing that. I haven't seen anything like that, but that doesn't mean internally they didn't do it.
Yeah, okay. All right, so that's pretty much the main bulk of everything that we wanted to go over. Now, we do want to touch on real quickly. I know this article is old, but older, it's a couple days old, is that someone's going to look like it's going to buy Voyager. It looks like someone's going to. A lot of people are saying this Binance, which is the biggest crypto firm in the world, or exchange, whatever, going to buy Voyager. What do you think about all that? What do you think is best case scenario still for us, the little guys that obviously don't get enough talk about, but in all this, what's going to happen to all of us? What do you think?
Well, I think obviously if they're the largest crypto exchange in the space, it would be stupid for them not to kick the tires on Voyager and see what they want.
Yes.
Do I think they're going to spend? Do I think they're coming in with this the Army's coming in, they're going to save all you guys? No, I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
I think they're only going to do it if it makes financial sense to them, and financial sense to them is going to be, hopefully you guys keep all your money on the platform, and it just shifts over to them. But they're not going to pay a bunch of money because they know that the minute you guys can take, I bet a lot of people, I'm not going to say everybody, maybe not, but if it's available to take your crypto off and go somewhere else, you probably will.
Yeah.
Some people will.
And who knows what they asked then? Yeah, I guess.
Well, who knows? Maybe they take maybe only 10% take it off, and then hey, we had a great deal. Maybe 90% take it off, and then that's why they're not going to spend a lot of money because they have no idea. And you also saw, someone's going to buy their assets. No one's going to want their debt.
No,
I think there's about a $1.1 billion, what they have.
Yeah,
and what is owed or what is owed to people. It's pretty significant.
Well, and you can see how fast up and down the crypto market can go. I mean, they already had over about a $40 million swing in this month alone.
Yeah.
So they were up almost $50 million at one point in time. Just from this month alone, it only went to like $24,000. Bitcoin did, or whatever it was, from 18, 19, from probably at the beginning of July. So not a crazy pump, but that's a lot of money that you can swing if the market's up, down, whatever.
The way I look at it is, what's that money? How can we value that? Because unless you're taking it out and actually getting cash, what's it actually valued at?
Yeah,
because tomorrow it's going to be different.
It will.
So
I
think they're taking. Obviously, if you're in a bankruptcy, you probably want to look like you're taking a bunch of losses.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think there's a huge. I think I heard on one of the videos, it might have been the one Colin was referencing. He sent me. That they said that they think they're still going to get like $472 million from Three Arrows Capital. I don't see that happening.
I don't know.
Ever.
I don't know.
Three Arrows Capital. See, they might even owe me money and I don't know about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I think Three Arrows Capital owed other people more money than they owed Voyager.
I think
a few billion out there.
There was like a 2.3 billion.
Yeah. So obviously that's not going to happen.
I mean, those guys are probably in Singapore or something, and they're
gone.
Back.
Yeah,
or India. I don't know where the hell they're at, but.
They're gone. But so to kind of start wrapping this up here a little bit, the big news coming out, guys, is that we have everything's pushed back a little bit so more people could get their buy orders in to see if they wanted it in their proposals in to buy Voyager and all that stuff. You already know that. You can look up the dates. We've put the dates out everywhere. I don't have them on me right now. Any last words you have for the people out there? Any last thing to sum up this video? If not, we're going to close it out. What do you got, Chase?
I guess just keep putting your comments down there and give these guys a like. I'll keep coming on and answering what I can. Obviously, I'm fairly new to this space. By fairly new, I mean the first time I've done any crypto research at all was the first time I was on this podcast. So I'm gaining knowledge every time I come on here. But put in the comments what you want, and we'll try to get them answered for you best we can.
All right, guys, you guys heard it there first. You got to like the video. You got to subscribe to the channel. Our boy Chase is coming on here, taking out time out of his own day. I don't have $300 an hour to pay this man to come in here, so give him a like, give him a thank you. And as always, guys, we do appreciate you guys coming along with us for this journey and rocking with the fittest crypto channel on YouTube, and we are out.